So the information just reported today that OpenAI, Sam Altman's company, is doing $3.4 billion in annual recurring revenue, which, if you think about it, is just insane. It's double what they were doing just 6 months ago, which doubling when you're doing billions in revenue is absurd. It's also up from basically zero before ChatGPT, I mean, a couple $100 million, but like 21, early 22, realistically, they were doing like no revenue. So from nothing-ish to $3.5 billion in revenue in 2 years, it's out of this world. It's completely out of this world. And, I was thinking about, I remember Paul Graham, who obviously works super closely with Sam over at YC. Actually, Sam Altman was in YC's first batch ever with a different company. And then, Sam goes on to become the CEO of YC. So anyways, worked closely with Paul Graham for many years. And what Paul said about Sam was that Sam was the best strategist he's ever worked with. Paul Graham, who's worked with some of the most exceptional founders on this planet, says that Sam Altman is the best strategist that he's ever worked with. So I got to thinking, and I just thought back like to the history of OpenAI, and you actually look at how it all played out, and you can really start to see now the strategic thinking that was behind some of the big moves that Sam Altman made. And I'm not saying, by the way, like that Sam Altman had some, let's say, master plan that he like predicted the future, knew was going to happen. It's actually funny enough, like strategy is not about predicting the future. I mean, that's called having a crystal ball, and no one's got that. Truly, no one's got that. Actually, strategy is all about positioning. It's all about putting yourself in a place where, regardless of the different things that might happen, you have as many opportunities as possible. The best decisions are the ones that, regardless of what outcome happens in the future, put you in a place where your available set of choices are as good as they could have been. And that's really what strategy is all about. So 2015, Sam starts OpenAI, and he starts it as like a nonprofit. And he starts it with obviously some of the biggest names in the world, with Elon Musk, with Peter Thiel, all these guys. At this point, like the uniting mission, the thing that brings everyone together is this idea that AGI is coming. Like it's all about safety concerns around what AI is going to mean, especially what AGI is going to mean. And that's why this non-for-profit structure makes so much sense. It galvanizes everyone. It helps Sam put the best people on this mission together instead of having to kind of come up with a business case, which at that point you couldn't really do because there was no clear business case. So instead of doing that, he just kind of gets the best minds around it, the best tech people, the best business people together, the best AI experts, obviously, and galvanizes them with this mission, this non-for-profit that is going to help protect humanity against the dangers that come from AI. And that's what he's working on. And at this point, by the way, he's still full-time on YC. So you already see, okay, this is an interesting move because he doesn't give up the thing that he's been doing, the thing that he loves, but he starts kind of working closer with these incredible tech luminaries on perhaps one of the most interesting, most important technology developments that's upcoming in our time. And that's what happens, right? So he goes on this, literally he's just working on this kind of in the background. I mean, well known in a sense, but certainly not by the average person by any means. In 2019, he releases GPT-2. So obviously there's been a lot of development by that point. And with GPT-2, that's when things start to become a little bit clearer. It becomes clear what the power of this new kind of AI technology could be. It also becomes clear what some of the use cases might be. At the beginning, they really weren't. So now he takes the second kind of move when we talk about positioning, the second strategic decision. Number one, he goes all in, right? He says, okay, this is actually very important. It's much more important than what I'm doing at YC. I like it more, whatever. He puts all these things together and decides he's going to go all in. So he quits YC, goes all in, becomes the CEO of this company, adds a for-profit component to it, and leverages that for-profit component to get $1 billion investment from Microsoft. So that's all in just 1 year. You already see, so now kind of how that positioning has evolved. And then from there, about a year later, in 2020, he launches GPT-3. So obviously the GPT product, it just keeps getting better and better. And companies are starting to build on top. But at this point, the way to access OpenAI's technology is effectively all through APIs, right? Like he doesn't really have any direct-to-consumer offerings. So he's just kind of working with startups, working with different companies that are building on top of his technology. And then this starts to really change, right? Like in 2022, as they continue to develop the technology, this is when they come out with GPT 3.5. And this is when things change a little bit, because what Sam realizes with GPT 3.5 is this is like, let's say, orders of magnitude, if you want to use tech speak, better than what we had before, better than GPT-3. And the sort of experiences you can power with this just kind of took a huge step function up. And frankly, Sam is not going to let everybody else have his cake. Being an API, being behind the scenes is just not good enough when what you've enabled is so compelling. So what does he do? With GPT 3.5, he launches ChatGPT. So this is end of 2022. And look, did Sam know that ChatGPT was going to be as big as it became? Of course not. Like, who can have the expectations that you're going to launch a product and it's going to go from 0 to 100 million users in 2 months, faster than anything, faster than Instagram, faster than Facebook, faster than TikTok. Like, it was the fastest product to ever go from 0 to 100 million in users, except for Threads, which Threads obviously leveraged the entire Meta ecosystem. So it's not really a fair comparison. But anyways, that's what happens. It's not about predicting the future. It's specifically about positioning, so that if that technology is as powerful as he thought, as compelling as he thought, at least OpenAI would capture just about all of the value from it. And guess what? That's exactly what happened, because obviously, as we all know, ChatGPT blew up. And then he does the next thing, which is he continues to go all in, right? So he launches a paid version exceptionally quickly. That same year, like, this is 2023, all within the span of 12 months, he launches a paid version at $20 a month. He launches GPT-4, the next evolution of GPT. He launches an iOS app. And then he makes the next kind of truly strategic move. That's more just kind of product velocity and making sure that the team is aligned and launching quickly and leveraging everything that they have right in front of them. The next strategic play is the partnership with Microsoft. So Microsoft already invested $1 billion, but in 2023, they announced a $10 billion investment, which is massive, monumental. And on top of that, brings them closer. Think about it from Sam's perspective. Like, at the end of the day, like, a technology is going to have value in enterprise and or it's going to have value in consumer. Those are the two places. So, okay, so let's start with enterprise. What is the biggest enterprise company in the world? It's Microsoft. Okay, cool. Basically, what he does is he says to himself, listen, if Microsoft is going to play in AI, which I'm sure they're going to play in AI, well, let's make sure we're their chosen partner. And so that's what he does in 2023, and he partners with Microsoft. That year, so by the end of 2023, just a year after he launched ChatGPT, he's doing $2 billion in ARR. Like, it's just absurd, up from $200 million at the end of 2022, up from effectively nothing the year before. Just an incredible scale of revenue, just never seen before. So he continues to go all in. He launches a Mac app, a couple months ago, getting closer and closer to that user. Now, the next big steps, I said before, technology is either going to work in enterprise or it's going to work in consumer or it's going to work in both. Well, who is the biggest consumer company in the world? It's Apple. So if Apple is going to start doing things with AI, Sam is making sure that their number one preferred and chosen partner is not Google, is not Meta, it's OpenAI. And with that, which was just announced at WWDC this week, over time, he's going to get access to 1.5 billion Apple users, which of course are the people that tend to have the more disposable incomes and so more likely to kind of sign up for that $20 a month. So again, I'm not saying that Sam Altman foresaw all this. I'm not saying Sam Altman had a master plan, and frankly, you can hate him or love him. But my point is, he's a master at strategy. He's a master at decision making. He's a master at positioning. And that's why now they have over 10 million paying subscribers, year and a half after launch. A brand name, this I think is so compelling. Like, their brand name, ChatGPT, is known by my parents. It's known by 60-year-olds, by 70-year-olds. It was a completely unknown brand just a year and a half ago. And of course, now they got $3.4 billion in ARR. That's how far strategy can take you. So anyways, Sam is killing it. And I think there's tons to learn about how he makes choices and how he positions himself to get the most, to capture the most value, regardless of where things might go.